Day before the deadline ever? I mean, good
It
Lord.
might be. It just, everything started to sort of happen today after really a quiet weekend and just maybe.
After the morning skates, it just blew.
Yeah, just things just started to progress. And so first we traded David Rundblad to Chicago for, for a second round pick. We had the young player that went with him was make the money make sense to us, and really with us with David, we just after looking at his game, we just thought it really wasn't going to work with us in regards to where we're at, what we need going forward with the emergence of Connor Murphy and Brandon Gormley. We just thought, that second round asset is an asset that we can use. A couple of years ago, we were able to use a second round pick for Antoine Vermette, so we're still looking to use that if we can to help ourselves. And we wish David well. He's going to a good team that that like him and want him, and it did free up a little bit of money for us. And then in regards to the Martin Erat acquisition. We've been looking at Martin for a long, long time. He was really a terrific player in Nashville for a long time. Went to Washington. Obviously, it didn't work for him there. Reminds me a little Radim Verbata when he was, he fit with us. He left us. It didn't work. Comes back. He's been a great player for us. So we think with our Czech players and the Czech synergy, we have good luck with the Czech players. That Martin, we're excited to have him, and there's some question over the last day or two based on our recent play. Are we sellers? Are we, going to get rid of people? Well, we still believe in this group. We'd like to add to this group. Until we're out of the playoffs, we're going to continue to see if we can get there. And I think Martin is certainly going to help us in that respect. We'll see.
Don, before we get into the specifics of those players and what they might add. I think you alluded to this already. Are you still looking to add before this deadline? Are you still entertaining offers, or
Absolutely.
Are you done?
Yeah, there's still lots of time left. It's an interesting time. We, obviously we put Rusty Kless in the deal, and they took his entire salary, which obviously had to happen to make this work. Rusty was a good player for us. We wish him well. Chris Brown is a good prospect. He was a key player for Washington. And you have to give to get, but we like Martin. We like what he can add. We think our style he's very similar to Nashville's, quite frankly, and that Martin will excel in the way we play. And there's some other names out there that we're still looking at, both forwards and defense, to see if there's any way we can, within reason, help this club start winning games. And that's our focus.
You said you liked him for a long time. Was he a deadline focus maybe in years past? Was he a guy you inquired on?
Well, not really. We could never, Nashville, he was such a good player. We were always competing with Nashville, so it wasn't a guy that we really, thought we could ever get, quite frankly. And if you go back and look at the price Washington paid for him, they paid a very, very steep price to acquire this player. And the only thing I can say, it just didn't work for them there. I think whether it's a style of play, we've seen it ourselves. Some people fit in some organizations. They just don't fit elsewhere. And in Martin's case, he was an Olympian. He has a great pedigree. We like even watching his game, even though his goal scoring has been, he's tied with our goaltender for goal scoring, so it hasn't been as good as we need it to be. But we think that can come back. He's a good player. And if we can get him back to the level that we can get him to, this is a good deal for us.
The guy you envision, and obviously it's up to Tip, but do you see him as being that fill that hole, that second line hole you've been looking to fill?
Well, certainly it's a start. I mean, Marty Hansel played one game with him at the Olympics, so they have a little familiarity with him. He had a lot of his success in Nashville on the right side, but he has played a lot in Washington on the left, and so we're going to look at it. But I think it's more so I think he needed a breath of fresh air and clear the air. He's very excited to come here, maybe just to get out of the snow as much as anything else. But it's a good contract. Next year really helps us in where we have to take this team. So there were a lot of reasons why he was really the top guy on our acquisition list at this particular time anyway.
What is it specifically about his game that you think is such a good fit with those other two guys?
It's compete level. Competes on both sides of the puck, kills penalties. He's got some quickness. We have to help him regain his confidence around the net. That's all it is. Because even when he's not scoring, he makes plays. He's got, I don't know how many assists he's got, 23 or 24, whatever it is. But it's just, you look at some of the other names out there and higher priced names, and he fits into how we feel we have to play. So
He has a larger cap number next year. Is that why you had to make some of the moves you did, and why Klesler's
it's all
salary
cap.
moving was-
Yeah, it's all cash for us. Cap has nothing to do with it. It's what he was making this year and what he was making next year. Yeah, he's a much lower cash number, which really helps us going forward.
Don, you said you might not be done, and yet you alluded to also faith in the current group. So far 2 moves, but not giving up any pieces to this current group. Is that something you're hoping to keep? Is this group together?
Yeah, correct. I mean, we have a very important game tonight. You hate to say it's changing by the hour, but we need a performance tonight. We have to find a way to start winning our games at home. And the last game at St. Louis is a perfect example. We had 2 great periods. We imploded in the third. They're a good team. Tonight's a team we need to win at home to continue along this path. So things change in a hurry around here. But right now our focus is there any way we can help this group be a little stronger? If we can do that, we'll do it. And if somebody comes up with something in the morning that might go the other direction, well, maybe we'll think about that too.
Are there other roles you envision for Martin other than just that line, special teams?
Yeah, well, I know he's a penalty killer. He's power play. He really touches a lot of the game. And so, again, he just sort of fits with who we are. He's not a dynamic, obviously high-end, pure skill player, but he fits into who we are. And we just hope we hit the right note and he regains a little offensive confidence. And we're not looking at him to come in and do what Stepniak did a couple of years ago and score, even though we're not going to complain if he does, score a goal a game, but we look at him as being a good player, and we didn't have to take a forward out of our group. And now we're better. We're a better team when he shows up here.
Don, since Rundblad was the player coming back in that tourist deal, there was so much expectation, I think, wrapped around. Where do you think it went wrong? Why don't you think it panned out? And how do you swallow and maybe close the chapter on that deal now?
Well, that was when I was a lot more hair, and I'm really a lot happier too. I think the thing with the tourist deal, you have to remember there was a pick involved in that. That pick became Antoine Vermette. So in David's case, his style, his offensive style, we just couldn't find a way to get him in the lineup, to use him on a regular basis, to see if in fact he can bring those special offensive skills that we think he has. He does have puck skills, but for us and the way we play, with Keith Yandel, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the emergence of Mike Stone, who really could use more power play time with his big shot. We just thought he was an asset that's not going to play for us, and we felt we had a good return. He's a good return. That now was the time. Let's he's one of those fish are cut bait, and we'll cut bait, and let's move him along. We'll get an asset. That asset, whether it's now, whether it's at the draft or taking the pick, it's much more marketable than David. I think there's an acquired taste, a specific need for a team to want him. And most teams I talk to, they like him, but they've never seen him play. They think they like him, but he hasn't really played in 2 years here. The only time he's played is in the minors. So we move on.
Between now and 2, is the goal still more offense, more goal scoring? Is that still on your plate if you want to add?
We'd like to add another NHL forward, maybe a defenseman too. It depends what comes our way. We're looking to try and be stronger, in all areas. So there's lots of ideas being tossed about. So we're not closed-minded to anything. We just think we're better now. Can we make ourselves better by 1 o'clock tomorrow? So
You've got some organizational depth, and you've got some draft picks too. Do you anticipate being able to do that without messing with your core too much?
I would. That's the preference. Going as we stand here tonight at 6:15. Ask me at 10 o'clock tonight, maybe I'll have a different answer for you. But we expect a good performance. We need a good performance tonight.
I don't know
But-
exactly what you're looking at, but could Martin be a guy that slides down into a different role if you're able to?
Sure, he's versatile. He's he's had more success on the right than the left. We can see him with Ribeiro, and with the speed he brings and the quickness of his game, he doesn't have to be locked into a hands over batter mix. If we can find somebody that might fit there a little better, we'll see.
The asking prices out there, Don, are they pretty steep right now?
Yeah.
Are you expecting them
Well-
to go down?
I think a lot of people are. I think right now those high-end, top-end people, this with Martin Erat was a unique situation because he had a no-trade clause, so he got to be able to kind of direct where he could go, which limited Washington's options, I think. So it really helped us because he knows he's a great fit for us, and we wanted him. So there's some other names out there. I think people are waiting to see, let the price come down a little bit, and then you'll see a few more names fall. But right now, the asking price for some of these top high offensive players is it's stiff for rentals, basically.
Yeah, I know this draft is being hyped as maybe not one of the best. It's maybe a weaker one compared to recent years. But are you still committed to holding your first round pick?
Oh, for sure.
That's not an asset you want to move, I guess.
Not unless there's a Crosby or Malkin
back
attached
the
to
right.
it, maybe. I don't know. No, we no. I did first, second round. Now that we have the second.
Right, there's some
Okay,
flexibility.
now
there.
we can talk. We look at now, we got a first, 2 seconds, a third. We don't have a fourth, we have an extra seventh. We need more picks. We need more players. So I think it just gives us more flexibility. And there's good players in this draft. It may not be as deep at the top end, the star quality, but there's still a lot of very good players out there.